Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night for those of you in Asia. It's midnight. So I hope everyone is doing well. And we have a lot to do today, so this is great. And I wanted to mention at the beginning that ACI's next event is coming up. It will be March 4th through 15th at Diamond Mountain. It's Bridge to the Diamond Way 5. So if anyone is interested in taking Diamond Way from Geshe Michael later this year, you should definitely sign up and attend. And even if you don't want Diamond Way, it's a wonderful, wonderful set of teachings with some great teachers as well as Geshe Michael. And I wanted to just mention you can register on the ACI website. And if you are short of money, don't hesitate, because when you go to register, there's a line that says payment, and you can put 0 in, and ACI will find the money. Or if you can only afford a bit, put that amount in, and you will be able to attend. So I encourage everyone to attend. Now, today you will need some pen and your markers. Yes, there it is, QR codes. And if you're in Asia, you can go in person to Malaysia, and some teachers will be there, and you can have a group experience with Geshe Michael online and a group of students in Malaysia. So it's just a lot of options, online, in person, or in Malaysia. Can't come in person, sold out, I think, but online. Okay, so today you'll need pen and paper or your markers later on. And the first thing we want to jump right in, I'm going to give you a small gift. Next slide, please, Marina. Amirta. Okay, so here's another gimme in the Sanskrit language. And I always love these. A gimme is an American slang word that means a free gift. And there is something in Sanskrit called indeclinables. And they are small words that often have great importance in the meaning, but they don't get declined. They don't have 24 different forms we have to memorize. They are taken as is, and they're always in the same form in any line of text. And from our text, which is Master Shantideva's Bodhisattva Charyavatara, we've had 2 examples so far. Last term we had Adya. It's an indeclinable that means today or now. And in the verse we're working with now, we have tata, tata. It means so or thus or in such a way. So I think these are very nice. The only thing that changes is if they are in a word, in a line, and there's sandhi before them or after them. But other than that, you don't have to decline them. So a small gift. All right, next slide. So a brief review of the hard and soft letters. The first 2 columns are hard. The last 3 columns are soft. And as you know, this becomes more important when we learn more about sandhi. And the aspirated and unaspirated letters, which has to do with the pronunciation. So the hard and soft has to do with sandhi, writing, and the unaspirated, aspirated, and nasal has to do with how we pronounce things. Okay. I mean, in a way, since hard and soft have to do with sandhi, sandhi does have to do with how we pronounce things, but it's more about deciding how to write it than how to pronounce it. Okay, and the three sibilants are considered hard letters, and the h and the semivowels are soft. Okay, let's recite this one time. Please open your mics and let's say these letters, remembering the tongue position of each varga. Guttural for number 1, palatal 2, cerebral 3, dental 4, and labial 5. Okay. Ka, ka, ga, ga, cha, cha,
cha,
cha, cha,
ja, ja, nya,
ta,
ta, ta,
da,
da, da, na,
ta, ta,
da,
da,
ta,
da,
da, ta,
na,
na,
pa,
ba, pa,
ma.
ba, pa, ma.
Great. Okay. So we're going to take 10 minutes and practice writing Devanagari. Let's have the next chart. Here are the Devanagari consonants. So I put a little break in between the 25 main consonants that we just recited, and the extra 8, which are on the right, the semiconsonants in the first column on the right, and the sibilants and ha in the second column on the right. The empty column is just a marker. Don't pay any attention. So, Amirta, do you think you can pin this so people can watch it as we write? Because I want to show another slide for them to copy. I don't know if that's possible. Ooh. Okay, so the next slide, when you're ready. All right, take 10 minutes. This is our verse, and write it out in Devanagari. And I don't think you'll finish, but if you do, just start over again. Okay, Andreas is sharing his file of the letters. Thank you, Andreas. Great. Okay, 10 minutes. See you in 10. Okay, let's start to come back. I think that's about 10 minutes. So, how did we do? Elena, question.
I have a question.
Yes.
If we will take on the first row the third like third line, a combination of the letters, and the last one in the second row.
Last one in the second row is yata. Is that the one?
Yes, and then the third one, because we have in the third one we have straight line above. And then the last one in the second row, it's without straight line, but it's more curve. Is it correct? It's different letters, yeah?
Letters. The third word in the first line is maya.
Mm-hmm.
It has a ma and a ya, and they do not break the sutra, the line.
Okay. Okay.
But the last word in the last line is yata, and the ta does break the su.
Okay.
So it's a ya and a ta, two different letters.
Like in the first line, the first combination, first,
That's ta, and it has the same letter as yata.
yet on the tata, yeah, tata,
Yeah. So that's a,
tata, yata. Mhm.
and that is a fourth varga, uh, hard aspirated letter, ta,
Mm,
and it breaks the line.
mm,
But ya is a semi-vowel, soft letter,
mm.
does not break the line.
But
Good.
it's not difficult to write. It's so many similar signs, like they all repeat. They're all the same. After two, three times, after three words, that it's all they're repeating, just repeating.
But not, they are subtly different. And that
Yeah,
is,
yeah, of course. But there is some the same, and it's like very funny.
and I learned Sanskrit first. I was very offended, especially by the ba and the ma, right next to each other and very similar, but not the same. So
Mm.
Sanskrit is a subtle language. Okay. Other questions? How far did you get? Did you get partway through? Everybody, different people? How many words?
I did 1.5 time, the
Oh,
full and half.
great. Andreas, what?
Yeah, I was struggling with the 2 marks at the very bottom of the line. One was on the last character of the first line, and the second one was
Next to the last.
the second last word on the last abugida.
Yes, and that is a virama. So
Yeah, but the one is going down to the right and the other one's going up to the left. That's strange. Or is it just the placement of the one at the on the second line?
I think it's
Strange.
just a placement. The first one, which is after the ma, sort of hangs off the end of the downstroke.
Correct. That's normal.
The next to the last one is under the duh, and it's sort of directly under the word, not hanging off the end of it. So
Yeah.
it's just a placement issue. And when you consider that we will be handwriting these, it could be almost anywhere in the near vicinity. So it's the same mark.
What do you mean we'll be handwriting these?
Well, you just wrote them by hand.
Oh. In
And when,
future, I hope we'll be using a computer.
well, we just had a handwritten exercise. And when it's handwritten or it's a manuscript, which is what manuscript means, of course, it can be very varied because everyone's handwriting is a little different. So,
That's a good point. Thank you.
all right, but different computer systems will put them in slightly different places. Okay, next slide, please. What does this mean? Who can tell me what these letters stand for?
These
It's a
cases,
made-up word.
nominative, accusative,
Yes.
dative.
Wait, you skipped one. Nominative, accusative. What's the third one?
Instrumental.
Instrumental. What's the fourth one? Dative. And the tricky one, the second A. Ablative.
Ablative, exactly.
Yeah. And the last two?
Just a second. The last two is vocative and
Genitive.
Genitive, and then
genitive,
and locative.
vocative, yeah, vocative.
And next slide. I like to use bagel to remember this. Nigel, a silly mnemonic. Ignore it if it sounds too ridiculous to you. But it's important to remember the order of the cases so that we don't have to stop and think about what goes where. So we need to memorize these. Which one is missing?
Vocative.
Yes, and that just comes at the end. And it's fairly unusual, so it ruined my mnemonic. So I didn't put it in, but it's there. Okay, next slide. Let's recite. Open your mics, except for Kathy. She's not feeling well today. And we will recite this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Yoga.
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 Yogam.
Yoga.
Yogena. Yogasya.
Yoho. Yoga. Yogesho. Yoga.
Right. Okay, next slide. We know all this, so we're just reviewing. Here is our verse. Let's recite it once. We just wrote it. Elena wrote it twice. So on the count of 3, paying attention to the 1, 2, 3. Tata
Karyam Karinam Nirmalasya Tulasya Nabhavet Yatha.
There is an error in the first word. It should be tata. Someone helped me find that in the Devanagari.
В першому слові має бути тата.
Как
Допоможіть мені знайти.
Wait, who's
нам слышно український.
Ukrainsky, excuse me. But I don't understand. What does that mean? What is it?
It was a translation of what you said before.
Thank you. Yes. Okay. So it should be tata. I will fix that. Next slide. All right. Here is our wonderful verse, and we'll just quickly review. Last week, we spent some time on the first half of this verse, and I have highlighted in yellow all of the wonderful words that we sort of know the declensions for, although one of them we don't. So I've modified this vocabulary list a little bit to make it simpler. Tata is an indeclinable, which is such a wonderful thing, a free gift. Always says tata. means so, thus, in that way. Duna is a feminine noun, and we don't know yet how to decline feminine nouns. And it's an unusual word that means stirring, shaking, and it can mean a ritual incense burner for purification purposes. It's an Ayurvedic health term, and it's the subject here because it's nominative singular. So it's going to have extra weight in this verse. Maya is a pronoun, instrumental singular, meaning by me, because that is what the instrumental case indicates, instrumentation. Karya could be masculine or neuter, and it is a word that derives from kar, karoti, meaning make or do. So this word means what is to be done. Sva is an adjectival pronoun sort of word, meaning self, my, mine, my own, as in my own. And it functions often as a pronoun, so it does get declined. Kula is a masculine noun meaning community. Uchita, a masculine form of an adjective meaning fitting or suitable. And karina is a feminine noun meaning either the doing, the act of doing, or the doer. So we identified a number of these words last week by case, gender, and number. We notice that there is no verb in this verse. Oh, Andreas has a question. Yes, Andreas.
Sorry, Christina. You didn't highlight kulochita. Is there a reason for that?
Well,
Kula on cheetah, we have two words.
Yeah, kulochita. Partly because it's going to be a compound noun, which we talked about a little bit last week. And compound nouns are not declined. The first elements in a compound noun, which are squashed onto the last part of the noun, are not declined. They appear in their dictionary form. So while sva normally would be declined and kulochita normally would be declined, here they are part of a big word, which is sva kulochita karinam, and we're only going to decline karinam. So when you have a compound noun, which is fairly common in Sanskrit, you don't decline the first word or the second word or even the third word, just the last word. So I didn't highlight it in this example because we won't be trying to figure out what case it is. It's just the dictionary version. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so we notice there is no verb in this sentence, in this verse. We've looked at all the words in the first line, the first half of the verse, which we are working on today. There is no verb. And this is fairly frequent in Sanskrit, particularly when you're not doing regular grammar exercises, but you're doing organic Sanskrit. So you're actually looking at a real author in real Sanskrit. And this is the kind of style that a very good writer like Master Shantideva would write. So no verb here. And the role of a verb in Sanskrit, in good Sanskrit writing, is frequently filled by a participle. Does everyone in class know what a participle is? If no, just write it in the chat or open your mic and say no. Okay. A participle is a noun form that's created from a verb. So some English examples are words like walked, walking, ed words, ing words. In Sanskrit, they are very sophisticated. They can have a sense of present, past, future, optative, conditional, subjective. They have number, gender, and they are declined. So they carry a lot of information. And they can definitely function in a verbal way. In this sentence, for instance, karya, the first highlighted word, is an optative participle. So that means it carries a sense of choice or obligation. There's no actual correlation to the optative in English, but we're translating it here, karya, if you look at the vocabulary list, as what is to be done. And we went over this a bit last week. When you see a Sanskrit word, not all of them, but a lot of them, you're going to be looking for the root. And here we see the famous combination of K and R, K and R. And anytime you see a K, R inside a word separated by vowels, you're going to suspect that it comes from the root kar, karoti, which means to make or do. And this one certainly does. And our author is stylish, so he puts two kar words in this line of our verse. And that has a sort of stylistic impact, which is a bit elegant. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We'll come back to this one. All right, let's talk about stems. And I've written all my notes out here because you can look at it in your leisure in the PowerPoint afterwards. Andreas. Question. You're muted. Say it, start again.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
You said in the previous slide, you said oblative. I just wanted to check if I got that right. Oblative.
Optative.
Sorry?
Optative. I put it in the chat. Optative.
Thank you.
I think that's Greek options. You have, it's not a definite statement. It's an optative statement. You have a choice about it. So if we translate karya as what is to be done, it isn't something that's a fact, something that was done, or something that we are doing. It's something in the future that could occur, or perhaps it will not occur. So it gives that uncertainty to it, that sense of we should do it, but just because I think we all know we should do something does not mean that we will do it. So there's a choice. Okay, so last week we also noted that there are stems onto which the case endings are added. For example, in our verse, and maybe we could pin the verse to the chat so people can look at it as we talk this through. For duna, the stem is dun, and is the ending. For karya, the stem is kare. Kare, I don't know how to say that because it's not a word. Ra, ya is the stem, and we add the endings. For karinam, the stem is karin. And this is particularly important in our verse because it tells us that karinam cannot be a masculine genitive plural noun. If you have your chart of yoga declined, you see what is the genitive masculine plural of yoga? Does anyone have their chart? Can tell us.
Хотя с учителем тоже, конечно, нужно тоже другого отношения. Спасибо большое, что читаешь.
Девочки, микрофон выключите.
We have Russian.
Christina,
Bring on that.
which
Yes.
one? We're looking
Yeah.
for which one?
Masculine, masculine genitive plural. What form is that in our yoga chart? What is that word? Genitive plural.
Yoganam.
Yes. Yoganam. Now here, this word is karinam. Is that a masculine genitive plural?
No.
No, because what is that ending?
Anam.
Anam. So the stem is yog and the ending is anam. What would it be if this word karinam was a masculine genitive plural?
Dunanam. Dunanam.
Karinam.
Karinanam.
Karinanam. Because the ending for a masculine genitive plural is anam, and the stem would be karin. So it'd be karinanam, but it's not, right? If the stem here is karin, what is the ending in this word? Exactly. And which we do not officially know yet, is a feminine accusative singular. I'll check that, but I think that's what it is. So it is a feminine noun, karin, and here it means the doing of the thing or the doer of the thing, whatever that is. So I think I said all that stuff. Okay, we don't know this form yet, but we definitely know it's not a masculine genitive plural. Okay, so
what sorry, Christina, why particularly masculine genitive?
I chose that because it looks like a plural masculine genitive on first glance because it has that long it's easy. Those two are particularly easy to confuse. Like one of the things we're going to do as we start to translate more is we're going to look at the ending and see in our chart, which we have memorized, right? what that ending looks like, right? So if we go back to our verse and we look at Karyam. Thank you. Karyam. We're going to look at that ending and say, what could that be? And if we look at our yoga chart, what is if the stem is karya, ka-ra-ya, that's the stem. The ending is what case would that be? Look at your yoga chart and see where you see an ending, am, short
Accusative singular.
Yes. And that is the way we're going to figure out what things mean. We're going to take the stems, look at what the ending is, look in our charts or into our mental memorization and say, that must be a masculine accusative singular. And that's why the karinam is tricky, because at first glance, if you just look at the long you might pick out the masculine genitive plural. But when you look more precisely, you see that the the stem is karin, and the ending is but the ending of the masculine genitive plural is anam. So it can't be masculine genitive plural, even though quickly you might think it was. Does that make sense? Okay. So now let's talk a little bit about compound nouns. Let's go 2 slides ahead. Yeah. So we did notice this set, and Andreas brought it up earlier, and we learned that multiple words can be combined to make one word with a very rich combined meaning. And this is a challenge for translators, which we are, because somehow in one word, you have to convey the sense of all the different words that make up that compound word. And in these cases, as we said a little earlier, only the last word is declined. The other words are used or presented in their dictionary form. So this is like the word yoga, Y-O-G-A. That's what you would look up in a dictionary. But that word doesn't really occur in our 24 declined forms. It's all yogaha, yogao, yogaha, etc. Yes, it does occur in the vocative singular, but again, that's you would really not be using that in actual Sanskrit very much unless you were addressing a person, hey, king, or something. Then you would use the vocative. So yoga doesn't really appear in Sanskrit. It's the dictionary form. And that is the form we would use for elements in a compound noun. And I just want to comment that, our tradition has a little bit of crazy wisdom in it, where the lamas are a little bit, they teach you in ways that shock you to some degree sometimes. And organic Sanskrit is a little bit of a crazy wisdom way of looking at Sanskrit. Because normally these concepts would be taught much later in a traditional Sanskrit grammar class. But we are jumping in very quickly into the deep end of the pool with not much preparation. So we're learning fairly sophisticated things, slowly, I hope, and comprehensively, I hope, but in a very real way because we're working with real Sanskrit writing verses and a good, artful author. So our verse is a 4-word compound noun. Sva, kula, uchita, and garina. And the first 3 are not declined. So kula and uchita, however, do combine. And we went over this a bit last week, but it's according to the vowel sandhi. Because even though we're not declining sva or kula or uchita, we are combining them. And to the Sanskrit ear, you absolutely cannot say kula uchita. They won't allow you to say that, even in a compound noun. So with vowel sandhi, we're going to combine the final in kula, and the beginning u, the initial u in uchita, into a single sandhi sound, which is o. And explain to me again why we chose o for the combined vowel sounds. Who knows? Somebody knew last week.
Because we say, because we have the sound ow.
Exactly. When you have and u, it makes o.
Yeah, ow, yeah, ow. Okay.
Oh. And if you had and o, they say, the Sanskrit ear says, you get ow. We don't have that here. We do have and u, so that makes a combined sound of o, and we actually change the way we write it. So in our 4-word compound noun, sva stays the same. Kula changes its final into an o combined with the beginning u in uchita. So it's kulochita, and then karinam. So as translators, we have to find a way in modern language of expressing all 4 meanings in this one word in our translation. So almost certainly it will not be a literal translation. We knew that we know the vocabulary, we went over that, but sva means myself, my own. Kula means family or community. Uchita means suitable or fitting. And karina means the doing or the doer. So the literal translation would be self-community suitable doing. I wrote here in your slide, that ain't gonna fly. This is an American idiom, meaning, I'm not sure what it means. It means, in no way is that going to work.
Make no sense.
Makes no sense. Thank you.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Also, it's we can't have a translation that has one word that is self-community suitable doing, right? But we have to find a way to convey that sense in elegant English or some other modern language. And this is why translation is an art. And this is why my heart is sore to plunge our Organic Sanskrit 3 class into the need to translate this kind of Sanskrit. It's very artful, and it's very, very good Sanskrit. And it's like translating poetry in a way. It's challenging, but we're going to do it. Okay, next slide. So we're going to make a rough, rough translation, double rough, of the first half of our verse today. But so what is a rough translation? Next slide. So as you see from what we're doing, the first pass, the first attempt, the first effort to translate can be quite rough, right? Self-community, suitable doing. Excuse me. And we are working from the literal meaning of the words, right? We know what each word actually means. And also the literal meaning of the case they are in. Maybe next week we'll review the flavors of the different cases. You know, what does it mean to be instrumental by means of, for instance? And that this may and almost certainly will create a result that is very rough sounding to a modern language, in a modern language. And Geshe Michael follows a similar process when he translates Tibetan. If you go to the mixed nuts sessions, you will see this process in action. And I hope you go to some of them. At the end of any mixed nuts class, there's a rough translation. And you can see them struggling in the class in a good way. I don't mean struggle in a bad way, but they are working hard to translate the words precisely and then to take that meaning and put it into some kind of smoother English. Okay. And later, Geshe Michael will go over these rough translations and smooth them out, make them elegant. And in my opinion, Geshe Michael is a brilliant translator. We're really privileged to have some access to this mixed nuts process, see how they are being created. And the Bodhisattva Charyavatara has 10 chapters. And right now, in mixed nuts, we are in chapter 4. So a long way to go. But we're present during the creation of this, and imagine how we will feel when we hold that finished book in our hands. So one more time, translation is an art. All right, next slide. We have 4 minutes to translate. So tata is an indeclinable, meaning so or in that way. Duna is a feminine noun ending in long We don't know how to decline this yet, so trust me, this is the nominative singular. So this is the subject of our sentence. And this means we give it its meaning, its role in the sentence, a lot of weight. Maya is the masculine instrumental singular of aham, which means I. So the meaning of the instrumental I just mentioned is by means of, or by, through the instrumentality of something. So we would say, by me. Karya, if we look at the chart and the verse is karyam, what case is that again? Look at the yoga chart and see what the ending is. You've said it before, but let's just reinforce it.
Accusative singular.
Yes. So karya is accusative singular. And now the next word we're going to look at, svakulochita karinam. This is very awkward. This big compound word is also in the accusative case. So we have two accusatives in this phrase. What is to be done, karyam, and the doing, karinam. So I suggest, and I am not sure of a lot of this, that they are in opposition to each other. In opposition means that they reinforce each other, but they don't really have a strict grammatical connection. So one of the accusatives would sort of amplify and modify the other. So in this case, karyam, what is to be done, we could put a comma and then just amplify it, embroider upon it and say, the doing of it. Does this make sense to you so far? Any questions?
I have question. What it was, self-community, and then was the third word?
Suitable or fitting.
Suitable doing. Okay.
Suitable doing, exactly. So because this compound noun with karinam adds a lot of information to karyam, what is to be done, there's a lot of meaning packed into it that we need to reflect in our translation. So again, bear in mind, we are experimenting here together. We are translating a difficult and very artfully written verse. So there are no guarantees, and I won't be held accountable for my translation suggestions. We're in this together. We're doing the best we can. We're on an adventure. Our time is up, so we'll pick up here next week and make our rough translations. And I've been very bad. I have not sent you any homeworks. I'm working on it. But if you wish, this week you can work on what you think we should translate this verse as. And I'd be love to see your suggestions next time. So thank you as always.
Can we translate this like suitable job for a self-studying community, something like this?
I love that. Try that. You're on your own. You know as much as I do now, and you can make a rough translation of the first half of this verse. So
okay,
please try that. I would love to see what you come up with. And I'm so grateful because I know a lot of your languages are not native English, but you're going to come up with a rough translation in English. So very brave soldiers.
some kind of task for self-standing community or something like this, which suits self-standing community, I would think, and just to put all together.
Yes.
A little bit backwards words.
Go on the adventure. I love it. That is wonderful. Okay, and don't be discouraged. This is hard, but we're doing it, and we're doing it slowly, and we're having fun, I hope. Don't be rough on yourself. You're doing an amazing piece of work. So we're over time. Thank you. Don't forget to dedicate what you're doing. It's amazing. I want everybody's head to hit the pillow and be joyful and rejoice about what you're doing and how you're spreading the Dharma. So thank you again. We'll see you next week. Cliffhanger.
Thank you so much, teacher.
Bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.